So I got to tell you from the beginning, for me, this was a difficult name to pronounce, Isaias. I've got it down now because I've said it so many times. But it has now also been a difficult storm to forecast with respect to South Florida. It's done a number of things today that kind of made you take a look at. It came over Andros Island there, weakened to a tropical storm, sensed the shallower steering currents, started moving to the northwest, and then now has slowed down quite a bit. It's only moving northwest at 9. It's 80 miles east-southeast of Fort Lauderdale, so it's not that far away. It's actually pretty close to Bimini. That's where the center is, but that's not where the worst weather is. The worst weather, and trust me, it has been surveilled by hurricane hunters. They have been out there all evening long. There was an Air Force plane, a NOAA plane. There was another plane that was flying up the periphery of it to check the atmospheric conditions on the wind shear and everything. You can see this big blow-up of thunderstorms. I'll show you on the radar. That has been fairly consistent and persistent through the evening, but that's where the center is down here. So once again, we have a lopsided storm. Now, in this case, it's lopsided in our favor because here we are over here. Wind shear is blowing from that direction, so all of the really bad weather is being blown away from the center. Near the center, it's kind of stormy. The breeze is coming up with the circulation as it approaches the coast here. We're starting to sense that down. Further inland, the breeze is not blowing that much, but along the beaches and along the coast, it's blowing pretty good. So this lopsided nature makes it a little bit of a forecast challenge because on the radar, look at that big old spin in those thunderstorms out there. This is a mid-level rotation now. It's not at the ground. It's probably between 10 and 20,000 feet up off the surface. In fact, the surface center is right down here. I'll kind of circle it. It's right there. So this thing is spinning up here, kind of up tilted from what's going on down here. What does all this mean? Well, sometimes these centers up here like to turn the thing around and pull the low-level center away from it. In other words, this circle here would be pulled here. Well, that would pull all of these showers and everything away from South Florida too. That is a consideration that we have to think of. It's not a bad consideration for us. It means that our weather is not going to be that bad. It's going to be a windy night with gusty showers moving through. However, if this doesn't take over here, then this surface feature here is going to keep moving on to the northwest. In fact, that's what the Hurricane Center is showing. You can see some of the squalls. We're still getting them now, and the winds are stronger in the squalls, but for the most part, unless that center gets closer to us, we're not going to see it get much worse. Here's the model. Here are the models this evening, and you can see the European is kind of out there where that other center is on the radar, and it goes to the north. Most of the other models are continuing that progression kind of up there to the northwest. There's been no real shift either way in the model run this evening. It's just been kind of like this slow, steady motion to the northwest. So here's the Hurricane Center's current warnings. Tropical storm warnings still for Broward and Miami-Dade, Key Largo. Hurricane warnings to the north, hurricane warnings in the Bahamas. And here is the cone and the track, I should say, because there's the tropical storm conditions now just starting to brush the coast. The cone there shows where the center is expected to be. So this is where the Hurricane Center still thinks it's going to go. There's a reasonable good belief that it will do that as long as that other radar thing doesn't take over. And here we are through the night tonight and 5 a.m. So the weather gets gradually worse, but not exceptionally worse. It doesn't just suddenly get really bad. The Hurricane Center is still forecasting it'll become a hurricane as it approaches the coast, but the window of opportunity for that's decreasing there. So still the hurricane force wind's a possibility. So through the night, mainly Broward, the winds come up. Miami-Dade, the winds don't change much from where they are. That's 9 a.m. And this now, everything is slowed down because even at 1 p.m., it's still pretty breezy in Broward, but it's improving in Miami-Dade. And then after that, it is on to the north like that. So the bigger picture of the cone looks like this. It's along the coast and then on to the northeast, up the eastern seaboard. If it makes landfall, it could be weaker as it goes north. Of course, these folks here are looking at all the uncertainty as well as we are, and we're kind of in a short window of time here in terms of the time frame. So what are we still talking about overnight? Well, we're going to consider that it is going to slowly move up the coast. The wind field's going to get a bit stronger, and the main thing we're going to see is power outages, and that's going to be the big thing we deal with. So as you go to bed tonight, put a flashlight by your bed, turn the freezer to its coldest setting, not the refrigerator, because you don't want to freeze the food in the refrigerator. You want it to stay unfrozen. Just the freezer you want to be colder in case the power goes out. It'll preserve that frozen food a little bit longer. And of course, don't venture out until it's light and you can observe things if there are any power outages.